Welcome to Raw Wednesdays. Glory and honor to our Father Yahweh, the creator of heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and the God and Father, the Messiah, Yahweh Shah, who is the prophet, priest, and soon returning king of planet earth. Glory and honor to Father Yah. Glory and honor to Messiah, Yahweh Shah. Greetings to the 12 tribes scattered into the four corners of the earth, according to Bible prophecy. Also awakening, according to Bible prophecy, to who they are, to where they come from, and to who their God is. Greetings. Greetings also to the 144,000 who are now the forerunners of the return of the prophet and priest and king Messiah. Greetings also to the precious ones among the children of Shem, the children of Ham, and the children of Japheth, who are receiving the truth of the line of the tribe of Judah, of the Father's perfect righteousness, and of his true Hebrew people who were enslaved on the west coast of Africa. Greetings. Greetings to the chat, Brother Love Blue, Sister Hebrew is Wanda, Only One Way, Akawan Banya, Superstar, Brother Mark, Omar, Yashamar, Brother Stephen Kelly, Yafi, Brother Otis Thorpe, Brother Baldy Thorpe, I said Otis Thorpe, Brother Baldy Thorpe, sorry, Brother Manny, Brother Castle King, greetings to all of you. Today also, not only is it Juneteenth, and happy Juneteenth, today we baptized Sister Kimberlite this afternoon here in Central Florida. Maybe 2 hours ago, we returned after having our celebratory dinner with Sister Kimberlite. Yeah, I know. Brother Omar Carter. But yes, we had a baptism today on Juneteenth. Praise the Most High. As usual, Wednesdays are for all Wednesdays are the current events days that we use, and we see current events in terms of Bible prophecy. Something happened this past week. There was a G7 meeting. That is the G7 of the United Nations. They call them the 7 industrialized nations. G7 had a meeting regarding Ukraine. They had other issues to talk about. They always have multiple issues, but one of the issues was Ukraine and the war dealing between Russia and Ukraine, which has been going on for a couple of years now. The G7, led by Joe Biden, the president of the United States, and aided by the Pope Francis, decided to use $50 billion that were Russian dollars, that were frozen Russian dollars, frozen because of sanctions that have been placed on the nation of Russia. They decided to give this $50 billion in the form of a loan to Ukraine and allow Ukraine to use this $50 billion, among other things, to purchase more weaponry of war. Now, what you saw there was 7 industrialized nations and the Pope. Now, there are many religious leaders all over the world. They're the leaders of various Christian denominations, various religions from Islam to Buddhism, Hinduism. There are many religious leaders around the world. Why was the Pope at a meeting of industrialized nations? Well, what we must understand is the Pope was there on 2 capacities. The Pope is the head of a country. The Vatican is a country. Also, not only was the Pope there as the head and representation of his Vatican country, but he was also there because he is the head of all Christianity on earth. In fact, Joe Biden addressed him as the Holy Father. And what we saw there, and I'm going to show you the scriptures in a moment, what we saw there was the beast, literally, and his image, literally. We saw the beast, literally, and the false prophet, literally, making a world decision, literally. At the same time that this was happening, in Louisiana, in the state of Louisiana, a law was passed that the 10 commandments must be displayed in all public schools. Yes, the governor of Louisiana signed into law that the 10 commandments must be placed in all Louisiana public schools. Somebody might say, oh, that's great, 10 commandments. But what we need to understand, Father, from the Father Yah, is the 10 commandments came from the Father in the form of a covenant to Israel. Why is that important? When the governor is signing a law to make all public schools display the 10 commandments, the 10 commandment law that he is making them display is a Christian law. It's not a Muslim law. It is not a Hebrew law. It's a Christian law. Therefore, the public who is paying tax dollars to support public schools is supporting official Christianity in public schools. You have just combined religion and government. This is not theory. This is what actually happened. When the Pope of Rome is involved with G7 business, you have just combined, just from his presence, you have combined religion and government. You have just combined government and worship. We have seen it now with the Pope, and now we have seen it in the United States of America officially in Louisiana. And don't think this is all you're going to see. This is the beginning. We talked about this, brethren. And by the way, this is the 12th day of the third month of the Hebrew year. If you look at the moon, it's not quite full. It's a waxing gibbous, right? So it's coming to fruition. It'll be full by Friday. Friday will be the 15th day of the third month. Now, we talked about in the beginning of the Hebrew year how this is the beginning of a 3.5-year period that will culminate in 2027 in the fall. And it will culminate on the Day of Atonement, on the 10th day of the 7th month of the Hebrew year, 3.5 years from the beginning of this year, which was, we saw it was in April. So, brethren, all the things we've been talking about are coming to fruition as we speak and right before our eyes. At the same time, how many people do you know sounding an alarm about these things, pointing to the meaning of them as the soon establishment of the image to the beast and 666? How many people realize that this is it? Very few people understand what's going on here. Okay. There are some looking for a national Sunday law, which will never happen. There are others thinking that there's going to be a Christianity in the United States is going to overthrow everything else and have white supremacy be supreme and everybody must be a Christian. There are also those thinking there's going to be a civil war, I don't know between who and who. You see, there's a lot of the white supremacist people calling for a civil war. The last time the United States had a civil war, it was between the northern part of the United States and the southern part of the United States. And I don't care what these rednecks try to tell you, it was over slavery. And the northern part of the United States wanted to preserve the union of the United States. So they offered the slaves, offered them freedom to fight against the South, which they did. And they won. That was a civil war. What sides of the Civil War would be now, I don't know. But all it is saying is how angry and how scared the people that are adherents of white supremacy are. They're very angry. We talked about this, and they're scared. And there's a spirit behind their fear and anger. And the spirit is of Asatan. And we know this. Behind their fear and anger. This is the whole thing behind this whole. In fact, I put in the description box a link to one of the many videos that talked about the Pope's appearance at the G7. They said it was the first time any Pope addressed the G7. The Pope has addressed the UN before, but he has never addressed the G7. Now, let's talk about the Bible and the G7. First thing we want to do is look at the four powers that scattered Israel and Judah, because it has a lot to do with what has now become the G7. So first, let's take a look in the book of Zechariah, chapter 1. Zechariah, chapter 1. Zechariah, chapter 1. Zechariah, chapter 1, and Zechariah, of course, saw a vision concerning Israel and Judah. And by the way, all Bible prophecy concerns Israel and Judah. The Most High doesn't look at anything in the Bible, in the earth, that doesn't touch Israel and Judah. Most people don't recognize that. All of the writers, the original writers of the King James Bible, are Hebrew Israelites. All of them. Many of them are priests of the tribe of Levi, like Samuel, like Moses, like Jeremiah, like Ezekiel. Many of them are priests of the tribe of Levi, but they all are Hebrew Israelites. And the focus of the word with the people on earth are of Hebrew Israelites. Now, let's take a look at Zechariah chapter 1 to start us off tonight. Zechariah chapter 1. I'm going to begin in chapter 1. This was a prophecy about the 70 years that Jeremiah prophesied about of Israelite captivity in Babylon. And so the Most High used that prophecy and then added to it, because all local prophecy in the Bible has end time implications. So that when they speak of Babylon in Jeremiah, or they speak of Babylon in 2 Chronicles, or they speak of Babylon in Zechariah, they're also not only talking about the literal local kingdom of Babylon, but they're also dealing with the worldwide end time system of Babylon. First thing we must understand, that what was a nation then is an entire world system now. Okay? For we start now in verse 12, Zechariah chapter 1, verse 12, beginning at verse 12, and let's go from verse 12 to verse 19, talking about the four powers. Then the angel of Yahweh answered and said, O Yahweh of hosts, how long wilt thou not have mercy on Jerusalem and on the cities of Judah, against which thou hast had indignation these 70 years? And Yahweh answered the angel that talked with me with good words and with comfortable words. So the angel that communed with me said unto me, Cry thou, saying, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with a great jealousy. And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. For I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies. My house shall be built in it, saith Yahweh of hosts, and the line shall be stretched forth upon Jerusalem. Cry yet, saying, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, my cities through prosperity shall yet be spread abroad, and Yahweh shall yet comfort Zion, and shall yet choose Jerusalem. Then lifted I up mine eyes, and saw, and behold, four horns. Four horns. And I said unto the angel that talked with me, What be these? And he answered me, These are the horns which have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. So the horns represent nations and powers that scattered the children of Israel off their land and out of their country and away from their city. There are four major powers that did this. Egypt is not one of them, because Egypt didn't scatter them. They came out of Egypt. No, the four powers that scattered Israel, Judah, and Jerusalem were Babylon, being the first, the Medes and the Persians, the Greeks, and finally the Romans. So those four powers scattered Israel and Judah. Okay? But then there was more. Let's take a look. In Daniel chapter 7, So Daniel chapter 7 reviews the four powers. And then it tells you something about the fourth one. Okay, so it reviews the four powers. And in Daniel chapter 7, it deals with them as four beasts. Okay, Daniel chapter 7, beginning at verse 1 and going down to verse 7. Daniel chapter 7, from verse 1 to verse 7. And the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And four beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second, like a bear, and it raised itself up on one side, and had three ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it four wings of a fowl. The beast had also four heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, strong exceedingly, and had great iron teeth. It devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Now, the fourth beast had a head with 10 horns on it. So you had the first beast had one head. The second beast had one head, that is Greece. The Medes and the Persians. That was the bear. The third beast had four heads, and the fourth beast had one head, a total of 7 heads and 10 horns, which is what you see in Revelation chapter 13, verses 1 and 2, 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay. Verse 8, I beheld the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, In this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. So out of that fourth beast came this little horn. Out of the fourth beast came a little horn, and it was significant. A mouth speaking great things. Let's let the Bible tell us more about this little horn. Going to begin at verse 21. Daniel 7, verse 21, and going from verse 21 down to verse 25. Actually, I'm going to read from verse 21 to 27. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. Now, we must understand from the Bible who the saints are. The saints are not Christians in the Bible. Here, there is no Christianity. Daniel's not talking about Christians. Those are not the saints. Not here. Not anywhere in the Bible. If the Bible's focus is on Israel and Judah and Jerusalem, as we have read so far, then the saints are the people of Israel and Judah and Jerusalem, aka Hebrew Israelites. Okay, those are the saints. And this horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. How long? Verse 22. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. So until judgment was given in favor of the saints, and the time came for the saints to possess the kingdom. As we know, the Messiah said, the Gentiles will trodden down Jerusalem. Jerusalem shall be trodden down the Gentiles, and the Israelites shall be scattered captive into all nations until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. And here it says, until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. We submit that time is now. Verse 23. Then he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and tread it down, and break it in pieces. So the fourth beast, Rome, out of which comes the little horn that prevails against the saints, shall trample down the whole earth. It says he shall devour the whole earth and tread it down and break it in pieces. Later, Daniel says, they shall divide the land for gain. Daniel 11 says they shall divide the land for gain out of that fourth beast. So, historically speaking, how has that happened? Who divided the land of the earth for gain? Christianity. Christopher Columbus was a Christian. He came to all of the lands of the Caribbean and what is now North America with the permission of the Pope. And people from Europe, France, Portugal, took slaves from the west coast of Africa with the permission of the Pope. This was done in all of the Caribbean, North America, including Mexico, what is now Central America, what is now South America. We also done in Australia, in West Africa, in South Africa. They were all European with the permission of the Pope. And they divided the land for gain. It says here again, they shall tread down the earth and devour the whole earth and break it, tread it down and break it in pieces. Break it in pieces mean divide it. You have this piece, you have this piece. France has this piece, Spain has this piece. England has this piece, Portugal has this piece. The Belgians have this piece, the British have that piece. Have they not done that? Well, let's keep going. We're talking about today, though. This is history. We're talking about today. Verse 24. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. What is different about the Pope? Again, looking at the G7 meeting from this past week, the difference is while Biden was there as head of the United States, while the head of Germany was there, the head of Canada was there, the head of France was there, the head of England, UK was there. The Pope was the only one that was the head of his church as well as the head of his state. He was the head of his church as well as the head of his state. Diverse from all the rest. That's right. Verse 25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. We're seeing that just today. The Louisiana governor puts Christianity as the official public school religion. And then there will be people arguing very strongly the United States is a Christian nation. They will argue this very strongly. You cannot have freedom of religion when you designate one religion above all others as your official religion. You cannot do it both ways. Okay? You can't. You're either going to have one or the other. Well, they're already decided. They being the powers of white supremacy, Christianity, have already decided. Okay. Verse 26. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom, that is the Most High's kingdom, is an everlasting kingdom. And all dominions shall serve and obey him. So at the end, we are seeing the Most High will rule. He's going to destroy all of this. Again, Messiah is a soon coming prophet, priest, and king. He has been giving the kingdom from his Father. And he is going to and populate the kingdom with his saints as well as the Gentiles. To the Hebrews first, or the Jew first, and also to the Greek or the Gentiles. Now, we saw the 4 powers. We see the Pope. Revelation chapter 17. Oh, before we go there, let's first stop in Isaiah real quick and get the definition of the beasts coming out of the water. Water. Let's look at that. Isaiah chapter 60. Isaiah chapter 60. Isaiah 60, I'm going to begin at verse 1 and go down to verse 5, Isaiah chapter 60, 1 to 5. Beginning in chapter 59, actually, he's talking about, well, let me start in 59, just for context. So let's look at Isaiah of chapter 59 for the context sake. And let's go from verse, I'm going to begin at verse 19. Going to begin at verse 19. And so you'll see that the focus here again is Israel and Judah. Okay, so let's take a look. Isaiah 59 from verse 19, and we'll continue reading into chapter 60 down to verse 5. So shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith Yahweh. The Redeemer shall come to Zion, and from them that turn from transgression in Jacob. I think we can see clearly here, we're dealing with Israel and Judah. As for me, This is my covenant with them, that is Israel, saith Yahweh, my spirit that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seed's seed, saith Yahweh, from henceforth and forever. Now, verse 1 of chapter 60. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of Yahweh is risen upon thee. Yahweh's glory risen upon his saints is the sign of his spirit. The seal of the spirit, which Revelation talks about in the foreheads of the 144,000. The outpouring of the latter rain, which Joel talks about also in Joel chapter 2. Same thing. His glory being risen upon the saints is the outpouring and sealing of the Father's Spirit. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yahweh shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together. They come to thee, Thy son shall come from far, and thy daughter shall be nursed at thy side. Thou shalt see, shalt see. Let me start verse 5 again, read it properly. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come to thee. So the Gentiles will be converted to the Israelites, not the other way around. Okay. The true Israelites, not no symbolic Israelites, not no spiritual Israel, the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who have been enslaved in chains and transported on slave ships, whose land has been taken and divided for gain by the Gentiles. Those people. Now, let's go to Revelation chapter 17 and see what happened this week. Revelation chapter 17. Revelation 17. Notice the G7. Revelation 17, beginning at verse 1, going from verse 1, let's go from verse 1 down to verse 6. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. This judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. The whore sitteth upon the waters, and the waters represent the Gentiles, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads, 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. On her forehead, that is her soul, that is her decision center, that is who she is. Mystery, works in secret. Babylon the Great, the head of Babylon, the mother, the origin of harlots and abominations of the earth. Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. When I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So she was drunken with the blood of the saints. She shed the blood of people that were of Hebrew Israelite origins. She shed a lot of their blood. After we were chased out of Rome, by Rome, of the land and of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 AD, we went, as the Bible said, beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, as the Bible said, beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. And from there we were captured by people whose tongue we didn't understand in Deuteronomy 28. And we were sent into the house of bondage by ships. Chains were placed on our necks, and we were in want of all things. Okay? This actually happened. Drunken with the blood of the saints. How many millions of us were thrown overboard in the Atlantic Ocean? How many millions of us were burned, tortured, beaten, worked to death? How many millions of us are still enslaved today? Well, that's why she was drunk with the blood of the saints. They had divided the land for gain. Well, the angel had to rebuke John because he was looking too hard at this sister. Well, she wasn't really a sister, but he was looking too hard at her. The angel said, verse 7, the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Remember now, this was written 2,000 years ago. Literally, these words were written 2,000 years ago, more than 2,000 now. But the point I'm making is, when it says mystery, Babylon the Great, there was no Babylonian kingdom 2,000 years ago. The Babylonian kingdom existed something around 2,500, 2,700 years ago. So there was no Babylonian kingdom. That's why I said mystery, Babylon the Great. The whore is really Babylon, but nobody saw it. So it was, and at the time of John, 2,000 years ago, it is not. And yet it is, because it was coming in the form of the 4th beast, which is Rome. First under the Caesars, later under the popes. So that it changed from the Roman Empire to the Holy Roman Empire. It was, and it is not, and yet it is. And it's a mystery. Even now, Joe Biden was pictured kissing the forehead of the Pope. And nobody realizing that's the beast being kissed by the image to the beast. Mystery. Babylon the Great, the mother of abominations and harlots of the earth. But listen, if you are a descendant of slaves, you surely understand this ain't for your benefit. These two guys, this ain't for your benefit. If you're a descendant of slaves, you surely understand. If you're a Christian, let me make this very plain. If you're a Christian, you are worshiping the God and the religion of your slave master. Think about that. If you're a Christian, you are worshiping the God and the religion of your slave master. You are worshiping the God and the religion of the ones who stole you in chains and brought your forefathers into slave ships. You are worshiping the God of the ones who whipped you until your back was bloody messes, who raped your women and changed your name to Washington and Jefferson and Madison. You are worshiping those people. And that's not you. That's not where you're from. That's not who you are. Your God is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's a different God. people will say, well, we all worship the same God. That is fantasy. Why do I say it's fantasy? If you have one God, right, and he's made all people, right, why would he tell some people, I want you to call this man Holy Father, and other people, I want you to read Ellen White's books? Why would he tell one people, I want you to eat pork and keep Sunday holy, and tell another people, don't eat pork and keep the Shabbat? If we all worship the same God, why does he tell some people, I want you to worship this chubby statue of an Asian man, and tell other people, worship this woman who's one of many gods named Vishnu? If we all worship the same God, he must be confused. The fact is, we don't worship the same God. Our God is the one that said to our people, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee. Specific. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the house of bondage, out of the land of Egypt and out of the house of bondage. That is extremely, extremely specific. He did not bring the whole world out of the land of Egypt and out of the house of bondage. He did not do that. And he didn't bring no unmelanated people from Europe out of there either. No, you don't stay in Africa for 400 years and come out with no melanin. Wait. Let me just make sure y'all got that. You don't stay in Africa for 400 years and come out with no melanin. You don't do that. And you don't marry an Egyptian priest's daughter and have 2 sons and come out from Europe. And you don't marry an Ethiopian woman and have 2 sons and come out from Europe. You don't have the Most High say to you, are ye not like the Ethiopians unto me? As he said in Amos. And come out from Europe. No. You don't have hair like wool and come out from Europe. No. So, let's read Revelation 17. I'm going to begin at verse 9. I stopped at verse 8. Let's go verse 9 and verse 10. This is the meat of the thing. This is the meat of this week's meeting. Revelation chapter 17, verse 8, 9 and 10. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. 7 mountains, which is 7 points of power. 7 nations. I know people say, well, there's 7 mountains in the Vatican. Okay, I'll give you that. But that's not the real point here. The point here is that the whole foundation of the system we now in goes back to ancient times. Do y'all understand that? Didn't just start today. It wasn't just started yesterday. It's been built up over these 7 nations, these 7 kingdoms. And then verse 10. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. See, now modern times, you got 7 kings. 5 fall, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. The one that's the youngest of all of those kingdoms is the United States. The most powerful and young of the kingdom. The only one that might be younger may be Canada. You want to give them that? But they ain't as powerful as the United States. They're part of the G7, but they're not the United States. No, it wasn't Canadian Prime Minister leading that G7 meeting. It was Joe Biden. And he leads all of the G7 meetings, whoever the U.S. president is. And now you have the Pope of Rome And the beast that was and is not, verse 11, he is the eighth and is of the seven and going to perdition. So, brethren, what we're seeing right now, very subtly, nobody even sees what's going on, but because the Most High has given us his spirit and his word, because all we do is look at this book and get all our answers from here, because all our answers are in here. It teaches us the end times because that's what it's dealing with, prophecy. And it teaches us prophecy because we are his people. Right in front of everybody. It's already begun. Right in front of everybody. It's already started. Brethren, next moves, you're going to see very rapid moves. We've already seen just in what we just talked about in terms of what happened in Louisiana, you're seeing the force and push of white supremacist religion in public schools. They don't call it white supremacist religion. They call it Christianity. Christianity is white supremacy. Why? It was pushed by the white Pope of Europe, the so-called white man, and all of his subjects. And it became later Protestantism. Same thing. Because Protestant is just protesting against their mother church. Their mother church is Rome. Tony Palmer said it before he died. There's no more protest. Y'all just need to come back to your mother. That's what he said. There's no more protest, and there's not. There's no protest. There's no protest from the Protestant churches. So they're all under the same umbrella. It's right here. So when you see this happening in Louisiana, you believe it's already matched in Rome. And you're now seeing the Pope as the head of his church and the head of his state. Now, guess what? If the white supremacists are successful, and prophecy says they will be, in forming a government that is based with Christianity, then whoever becomes the office of the president is not only the head of the nation of the United States, guess what? He's also the head of the Christian church in the United States. Do you understand that? See, as the Pope is the head of his church and the head of his state, the Vatican, though you see him as a church and not realizing he's a state, it's just the 180-degree opposite. When the United States now has official laws that say Christianity is the official religion, that means that whoever the president is officially the head of Christianity in the United States. So you have the beast and you have his image. And did you hear, there was an Indian guy, I forgot his name, from Texas. He was trying to run for president. And he was interviewed by this Chad Yafet, this Caucasian woman. And she said, I could never vote for you. You're an Indian. I mean, she just came out and said, you're a nice guy. You speak real smart. But you're an Indian. Blew my man away. Helped him out, I felt. Let him know what she really thought of him. I wish more of the children of the effect could be like that. She wasn't trying to cover it up. She said, no, I'd never vote for you. You're an Indian. You're not white. But that just goes to show you where we're headed. It goes to show you where we're headed. Okay. What was that guy's name? Oh, the lady's name was Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter was her name. That's who she was. Skinny Caucasian woman. Ann Coulter told, I forgot what the boy's name. Ann Coulter. Yeah. His name was Wasawami or something. Vivek Wasawami. Yes. I'm gonna put this also in the description box. This is funny. I'm gonna put this also in the description box. Oh yes. She said, I ain't vote for you. You're an Indian. But brethren, this is where we are, man. This is where we are. Let me just put this down. I'm putting it right below Pope and Biden. And Coulter. I'm going to put that in there in the description box so y'all can see that. I probably spelled the chick's name wrong. Hang on a second. Let me see. Ann Coulter. Oh, I got it right now. All right. Yeah, I put that in there too. Oh, man. So brethren, all jokes aside, We are on the right path. What is the path that we are on? We're on the path of seeking the Father, seeking to glorify our Father by receiving of his Spirit and his word, so that we will be obedient to him. That's very simple, isn't it? But yet that's it. That's the answer. We don't need to be marching in anybody's streets. We don't need to worry about the Pope or the Christianity, white Jesus, white supremacist United States. We don't need to worry about that. What we do see is signs of coming to fruition, what we already know is coming to fruition, right? And that's what the Messiah said to us. He said, I'm giving you the sign of the prophet Jonah, where he said, I'm going to be 3 days, 3 nights in the earth. And he's also given us the book of Revelation of himself from his Father, which shows the mystery that's going to be soon finished, which is the return of Messiah. We've seen that. We've also seen in the book of Revelation, along with the books of Moses and other books, the signs of the feasts. And we know that in 3.5 years, it's going to be the 40th Jubilee, on the Day of Atonement. We believe we're being prepared for the seal of the Father's Spirit and the closing years of his work. We believe that this work will not take longer than 2032. We're in 2024. 2032 is only 8 years away. So all of these things are right in front of us. The whole world is mesmerized and didn't understand what we just saw. And all we're doing is seeking the Father's word and his Spirit. That's all we're doing. It's very simple, isn't it? And yet that's where we're getting all our power from. The Father is now showing us dreams and visions. He's now arranging our lives so that we'll be prepared at that time. He's arranging all of our lives. He's arranging all of our lives. We talked just a few weeks ago, maybe it wasn't even that, about praying regarding your flight, wherever he's going to send you. Now, it's going to be tough everywhere, no doubt about it. But the hottest pot is right here in the US of A. And it's already coming, brother. Already coming. And let me just say what I just said before one more time. With the result of the governor of Louisiana putting the 10 commandments in all public schools. So you can do what they want in a private school, but it's a public school, taxpayer dollars paying for this school. It's public. If nobody challenges that, or if somebody challenges it and loses, which is probably what's going to happen, you're going to get this happening in all the so-called red states. And then, of course, you're going to get the president representing them, which means your president is not only head of his state, the United States, but he's head of the Christian church in the United States. Just like the Pope is not only head of his church, he's head of his state. And you will have formed the beast and his image officially. And it's all going to happen in the next 8 years, maybe even in the next 3.5. And again, the formula is simple. The glory is for the Father. That's all. His word is the roadmap. That's all. His Spirit is the power. That's all. And it's coming right now. Praise the Most High. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. That's right. Akawan Banya said it too. Christian nationalism. That's it. When you're talking about nationalism, you're talking about a country. Christian national, a Christian country led by a Christian in the Oval Office, which is the head of a national Christian church. They don't have to call it that, but it is what it is, isn't it? It's here, brother. It's not something we need to, theorize about. It's right here. It's here now. Let's keep praying for each other. Keep praying, period. Keep reading the scriptures, keep going through the scriptures, studying, drinking the word of the Father, drinking of his spirit, that you might give him the glory. Shalom, brother.